Hey everyone, and welcome back. We are going to be talking about building your very own cover letter. And I'm sure most of you have heard about what a cover letter is, but let's jump right in. So, what is a cover letter? A cover letter is a one-page document that you can include in a job application. Your cover letter should also introduce you to an employer and give them additional information about your qualifications and your character. Really, the goal of a cover letter is to convince employers that you're interested and qualified for the role. The cover letter is also a great place to provide additional details about your work history, your skills, and your life situation. This is where you can definitely provide those details to prospective employers. When written well, your cover letter provides important information that your resume isn't able to communicate. And you may be thinking, why is this important? To maximize your chances of getting an interview, you need to write a cover letter that makes a strong positive first impression on employers. I can't stress this enough. This is a breakdown of how a cover letter is structured. Let's get into it. We have our contact information, usually listed right at the top. Definitely, it's kind of listed in a way like a traditional actual letter that you'd be sending out. You have your salutation at the beginning, your opening paragraph. You have your body paragraphs. Typically, there is only a couple here. They should all fit generally on one page. You have that closing paragraph. And then you have the sign off. Some people like to leave a little room and actually sign it by hand or have like a signature scanned in or something. But this is generally the breakdown of a cover letter. Hey everyone, and welcome back. We're going to be talking about making your very own cover letter. I'm going to go through all the different sections and teach you what you need to do and give you some great examples. Let's jump in. Number 1, list those contact details. Underneath your name in your cover letter header, you should list the following details. You need an email address. You need your phone number. If you want to, you can also include things like your mailing address, LinkedIn profile, portfolio or website, and maybe your pronouns. This is going to constitute as the header area. Number 2, you want to address the hiring manager by name. After your header, you should definitely include the date and the company contact information in this format. You need a name or a job title of the person or team you're writing to. Following, you need the company name, company street address, if they have one, company's phone number, if they have one, and the hiring manager's email address. A cover letter salutation includes the hiring manager's last name and begins with Mr., Miss, or another professional title. You need to really address your cover letter to that manager by name if it is possible. Greetings like "to whom it may concern" and "dear sir" or "madam" are really old-fashioned and make your cover letter sound a little too generic, so avoid using them. The ways to find a hiring manager's name are: search the company on LinkedIn. You may be able to go on LinkedIn and search the company and then click on the people associated with that company. You can explore the company's website, specifically their About Us or a team page if they have one. As a last resort, you should try and contact their HR department if you have the time to ask. However, if you can't find the hiring manager's name, using their job title or something like "Dear Department Name Director" may be okay. Let's take a look at some examples. Opening salutation examples could be "Dear Jane Smith" if you have a name, "Dear Miss Smith," "Dear Accounting Department," or Dear Company Name Recruiter. I always do my best to ensure when I start that email off, like I am getting that name. Number 3, you should write an attention-grabbing opening paragraph. Start your cover letter with an informative, direct introduction by including the following details. First, 1 or 2 sentences. Let's take a look. I'm ready to apply for the open product design role at WebChat, which I saw advertised on Indeed.com. I'd be very grateful if you would consider my application with 2 years of experience as a product designer. I am certain I can meet and exceed expectations as your next intermediate product designer. In addition, I've led the design and implementation of 2 similar chat applications that have over 200K users worldwide. So the first thing is you list the position and organization you're applying for. I have that highlighted over here. Then you should mention where you found the position. I saw advertised on Indeed. Then you should go into detail about why you're excited about the opportunity and why you're able to do the work. You can make your introduction even more attention-grabbing by adding some personality and passion, or by including maybe a career highlight. So this is like an accomplishment that I've added to the end of this one. Remember, if you received a referral to the job by a current employee, your cover letter introduction is the ideal place to mention their name and your connection to them. This is a great way to quickly win over a hiring manager. Don't be afraid to let some of who you are as a person shine through in your cover letter. Just to be sure, make sure you strike the right tone for your industry or field. For instance, if you're applying for a job in law or finance, keep your writing very formal. Okay, here we go. Number 4, explain why you're qualified for the job. You're really going to use this section to convince employers that you're the right person for the job. You should market yourself by discussing your relevant works, experience, skills, and achievements. Let's take a look at this 2 paragraphs. Your job listing mentions a need for someone who is experienced in email segmentation and campaign development, both areas I have extensive experience in. I'm currently employed at Marketed Inc., where I've honed my skills by running numerous successful email marketing campaigns. While employed here, I spearheaded a digital promotion campaign for the company's new line of shoes that successfully raised our total online engagement by an impressive 13% over the course of 6 months, contributing substantially to the department's annual goals. Okay, so let's break it down. Number 1, you should really identify the company's needs. Over here, this individual is identifying that your job listing mentions that you need for someone who is experienced in email segmentation and campaign development. Next, you want to highlight your relevant expertise to those needs. Both areas I have extensive experience in. I'm currently employed at Marketed Inc., where I've honed my skills, and so on. You should maybe at this point provide an example of your work experience. So while I'm employed here, I've spearheaded a digital promotion campaign for the company's new line of shoes. And then cap it off with showing success. That successfully raised our total online engagement by an impressive 13%. Some things to include in your cover letter that highlight your value to employers include achievements, awards, expertise. If you received recommendations from management or colleagues for your work, you can add them to your cover letter as well. So, once again, company needs, relevant expertise, experience example, and the accomplishment. Number 5, relate your experience to the company's needs. We just spoke a little bit about that. Begin to close your cover letter by restating your interest in a job and explaining how your experience fits into the needs of the company once again. For example, if you're applying to work at a company that's seeking to break into a new market that you have experience in, you should highlight this experience in your writing. If you're not sure what the goals or needs of the company are, find out by doing some research online. Take note of the products or services they offer, what their work culture is like, and if they have any future goals. The job ad is also an excellent place to find out what the company is seeking. And here we go. Number 6, finish with a concise closing paragraph and sign off. When writing a cover letter, closing, be polite, confident, and continue to market yourself as the best candidate for the job. Here's how to write a convincing final paragraph for your cover letter. So here is the final paragraph. First, you're going to want to state your excitement about the job opportunity. I'm certain I'd be able to come in and contribute quickly to the team, and I'd be delighted if you'd consider me for the role. Then, in the same way, you do want to then ask the hiring manager to interview you, describing when you're available, and thank them for their time. At the end, finally wrap this up with a professional closing. The standard closing is generally sincerely, but here are some more options. You have best wishes, cordially, respectfully, kind regards, best regards, yours truly. But at this point, you should really thank them and say thank you for taking the time to review my application, and I look forward to hearing from you. You should check your cover letter's content and formatting. Now, this is a tip that I always ask people to do. I ask people to do it with resumes. I ask people to do it with their cover letters. Every bit of content you write needs to be checked. Before you send off your newly written cover letter, review it. Here are a few things to consider when reviewing the actual cover letter. Make sure that it isn't too long. 200 to 350 words is fine. It's single-spaced. US letter is the most common way from those in North America for the actual page of the paper. And use a normal font, like you can use Arial, and a good font size. 10.5 to 12 is like that area that you shouldn't really exceed or go below. You just have to make sure it's readable. Additionally, your cover letter margins should be between 1 inch and 0.5 inches on each side to ensure your letter is easy to read. And depending on the language your cover letter is in, left align is going to be the most common in North America and Europe. Your cover letter's format won't win you the job, but it can make you look like an amateur if it looks bad. Here are a number of ways to actually simplify your writing. 1. A classic cover letter writing mistake is to write long, formal sentences. Ideally, a cover letter for a resume should be easy to read, confident, and friendly. So make sure you do that as well. To instantly improve your tone, maybe you can use contractions like don't instead of do not. Really does help. Avoid buzzwords that are overused. Phrases like dynamic, think outside the box, go-getter. Like, you don't need to include that. And choose simple, unpretentious words like helpful instead of advantageous. Here we go. Again, make sure just to carefully proofread. Typos and grammatical errors in your cover letter will leave a negative impression on employers. Here are 2 quick tricks that professional editors use to catch mistakes. Number 1 is reading out loud. Reading your letter out loud forces you to consider every single word, every sentence, every paragraph, and punctuation mark. Plus, you'll catch hard-to-read sentences and can then adjust them as necessary. So remember, read out loud. Number 2, maybe change the font. The new font forces your brain to grapple with something that seems new. Switching your cover letter to a different font and font size can help you notice mistakes you'd otherwise miss. After you've read your cover letter out loud, have someone else read it over. They can provide some helpful feedback for you. Whether your letter is clear or well-argued or vague and filled with cliches, they'll also hopefully notice small grammar and spelling errors you missed.